Chapter 1, Section 11, Federalism and the Courts. Any discussion of federalism must include the courts. Supreme Court rulings concerning federalism have been made since the early 1800s. The Supreme Court has expanded federal power to enable the creation of a national banking system, control of the economy, and construction of vast transportation and communication networks. The balance of power between the national and state governments has changed over time based on U.S. Supreme Court interpretation. McCulloch v. Maryland, 1819. The Supreme Court decision in McCulloch v. Maryland, 1819, held that Congress has implied powers necessary to implement its enumerated powers. This case also established supremacy of the U.S. Constitution and federal laws over state laws. The case came about because, in 1816, Congress chartered the Second Bank of the United States in Maryland. In 1818, the Maryland State Legislature passed an act to tax any bank not chartered by the state of Maryland. Since the Second Bank of the United States was not chartered by Maryland, it was taxed. When the Supreme Court heard the case, it had to decide whether Congress has the power to incorporate a bank and whether the state of Maryland could, without violating the Constitution, tax the U.S. bank. The court ruled yes on the first question and no on the second question. In the court's majority decision, Chief Justice John Marshall noted that congressional power established by the Constitution originates from the people, not the states. He wrote that the Constitution, by nature, must be general enough to enable it to be changed as unexpected circumstances arise. There must be some implied powers for Congress, then, hence the language in the Necessary and Proper Clause, or Elastic Clause of Article 1, Section 8, which established that Congress could use all means which are appropriate to uphold the Constitution. Congress does not have the specific power to incorporate a bank, but such a power is implied. Regarding whether Maryland could tax the federal bank, the Supreme Court decided that the power to tax an entity is also the power to destroy it. This is unacceptable since the states are necessarily lower than the federal government. The bank was deemed an appropriate method for the national government to carry out several of its powers, such as regulating interstate commerce, collecting taxes, and borrowing money. United States v. Lopez, 1995. Another clause of the Constitution that has been interpreted by the Supreme Court is the Commerce Clause, Article 1, Section 8, which gives Congress power to regulate trade and commerce. In a significant case, United States v. Lopez, 1995, the court ruled that the Gun-Free School Zones Act of 1990 was unconstitutional because Congress had exceeded its authority under the Commerce Clause. The court held that Congress may not use the Commerce Clause to make possession of a gun in a school zone a federal crime, introducing a new phase of federalism that recognized the importance of state sovereignty and local control. The court found that the Gun-Free School Zones Act had nothing to do with interstate commerce or economic activity, and so struck down the act as an impermissible exercise of congressional power under the Commerce Clause.